Please help support the channel by visiting our Amazon store, affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and damn, we finally have a light at the end of the tunnel for the video game voice actor strike through SAG and AFTRA. Especially after all this time of waiting to see what's going to happen next, it's good to see that there is some progress being made. This isn't final yet, but we do have a step in the right direction, and one that will probably lead to the strike officially ending, and your favorite video game voice actors getting back to work with these 11 companies. Maybe. I don't know who your favorite video game voice actors are or if they're impacted by this at all. I'm going to assume they probably are. Anyway, it says here that after almost a year, the Screen Actors Guild American Federation of Television and Radio Arts, SAG-AFTRA, a union representing video game voice actors, announced it may soon be ending its strike against 11 video game companies, announcing it, or pending a new contract for voice actor safety and company transparency. The contract is expected to be reviewed by SAG-AFTRA National Board at its upcoming October meeting, and if approved, it will end the strike. Now, a lot of people out there were kind of like mocking voice actors when this whole thing was going down. Like, how hard is it to talk? Well, I'll be honest with you guys. When I do 3 videos for this channel, and I do, you know, my show for $3 Theater, and I do a live stream, at the end of the day, my voice is shot. And that is something that I do many days a week, many months out of the year. And it does have its impact if I don't keep certain things working. Like, I have bottled water that's room temperature, not ice cold. It helps with the vocal cords. There are definitely problems that come from the extraneous type of voice acting. You hear about this from people who record audiobooks. They'll do a day and they're told, like, okay, drink, you know, like lukewarm tea with lemon and don't talk very loud and save your vocal cords. And it's something that restricts them from doing other work because they need to make sure that their voices are in check. Or if they spend all day yelling and screaming because they've been shot or stabbed or killed in a video game, that does have a lot of impact on the vocal cord as a whole. And it is one of those things that does need to be talked about, which is one of the reasons why this strike, as much as I'm kind of an anti-union guy, I do feel was a necessary step forward in making sure that voice actors, and not just in video games, but in general, get the respect that they deserve. You know, when it comes to movies, I'm just going to say this. When it comes to movies, Spielberg put it best. It is 49% visual, 51% audio, right? What we hear is how we believe the world around us. And when that comes to good performances from voice actors, their voice is apparent. Their voice is their check. If that gets messed up or they get screwed, then they don't have much of a reason to keep coming back, and the good talent goes away onto something else. Now, that's just kind of my soapbox on that one. Said that SAG-AFTRA revealed last October it would be striking companies such as EA, Take-Two Interactive, and Activision over unsafe condition and demands for video game voice actors after a 96.5% of voters or members voted in favor of the strike. The news came after 19 months of attempted negotiations between the guild and companies, breaking new ground only now. The strike was the longest in the guild's history. Now, if you want my honest opinion as to why this might have happened, last year, the holiday season of gaming, and even this year, we've seen record lows. We've seen a lot of these companies get hit. Now, that's not to say that it has anything to do with the voice actors strike, but it might have an impact in some way. If recognizable voice talent is not being able to come in to do these kind of projects, then that's going to have an impact on everything as a whole. But now, look, at the same time, video games aren't made overnight. So video games that came out last year were currently in production for a while. But if this stuff started in October of 2015, it might have had an impact around 2016. But then again, the true feel of this particular strike won't be felt for quite some time. And in some cases, it has already been felt, which will be discussed later on in the article. So the issue SAG-AFTRA raised in regards to demands made by certain companies resolved mainly around long hours that pose threats to a performer's voice, as I mentioned earlier, the bread and butter of a digital actor's career. With the strike, the union also sought a bonus for every 2 million copies of the game sold, as well as a more transparency up front regarding projects and more serious steps taken to ensure actor safety and better working conditions. I'm not entirely too sure where in the safety part of it and the working conditions you're kind of in an air-conditioned booth reading off lines, or you're in like an air-conditioned mocap stage reading off lines and moving around. but I can understand that there might be some issues there, depending on, you know, which companies, and I'm not too sure. So when it comes to video games, a lot of actors aren't paid residuals or bonuses based on the success of the project, a practice common with movies and television, which is very true. To put that in context, per the outlet's report, voice actor Michael Hollick said he was paid $100,000 for about 15 months of work to voice Grand Theft Auto 4's protagonist, Nico Bellic, and received no royalties. Rockstar sold 25 million copies. Way more than 100,000. They made $500 million on GTA 4 in the first week, right? So 100 grand to the guy who, Nico Bellic, everyone knows Nico, but I'm pretty sure at this point, after all these years, Roman is who everyone pretty much quotes all the time. Nico, my cousin. The point I'm trying to get to here, though, is that, yeah, in movies and television, royalties are paid out. And residuals are paid out, and so it kind of makes sense. But at the same time, I understand the video game developer's perspective of it. They're paying you for a job. Why would they want to pay you a royalty on the back end? Well, I mean, if there's incentive to do a better job because you're going to have that bonus at the end, as we've seen with gaming, they get bonuses based upon their Metacritic rating, or whatever the hell it is. You know, it makes sense to also apply that at this point to the voice actors, because we recognize their voices. Look at Troy Baker, Nolan North, Ashley Birch, a lot of other people that were in like the Uncharted games. Anyway, under the new agreement, new bonus payments will be issued based on the number of sessions worked. These bonuses start at $75 for the first, maxing out at $2,500 after 10 additional sessions. These payments will be due no later than the release date of the game. So basically saying here, first you start off, you get called in once you're done, it's $75 for the first session, and then if you hit 10, then it's $2,100 every time after that, which it's a very steep increase, but it's one that might actually get the developers to make sure all of this stuff happens as close to complete as possible when they have the actor there. Now it says here, the reason why something like this is important for talent is, like other media, a lot of video games are written during development and oftentimes have to be changed due to the constraints of technology or the rescoping of the project. This results in a performer having to reshoot or reperform new content with no additional financial incentive. And that is not fair to the voice actor unless it was pre-dictated in the agreement. Like when you look at movies oftentimes have reshoots. We know about this. They might take a few weeks, 2 weeks to a month, or in some cases 3 months. I think Justice League, for example, has a multi-month reshoot schedule in order to basically rework a solid portion of the film. And so if a video game actor is not getting that added into their paycheck, then that is time taking away from other jobs that they have to come back into work. So you can understand why they would probably want to be paid extra. And this goes back even to how things were with the writer's strike back at the end of 2007 and the beginning of 2008. Residuals for online streaming and things like that was a big part of that. So as the industry grows, we do need to take care of the talent working within it. And this is something that I do agree with. As much as I'm not a union person, I do want to make sure everyone is paid an accurate and fair wage for the work that they do and the work that they're brought back in to do. So it says here, the bonus payments we have now are significantly larger than what we had 11 months ago, and the existence of additional payments beyond your session fee is in the video game world for good, both in our high budget and independent promulgated agreements, said the head of AFTRA, or SAG-AFTRA Interactive Negotiating Committee, Keith Farley. Additionally, the union holding these video game companies responsible for being transparent as a secondary victory, allowing performers to know just what it is they're signing on to before signing on to it, which is good too. They should know this ahead of time. Just make sure everything is on the up and up, so then there's no confusion as you get into development process. It's common for a performer to get involved with a video game project with no prior knowledge of what exactly they're agreeing to, oftentimes leaving some of its questionable content in the dark until the day of performances. And yeah, that's no bueno. The new transparency provisions will enhance the bargaining power of our members' representatives by requiring the companies to disclose the code name of the project, its genre, whether the game is based on previously published intellectual property, and whether the performer is reprising a prior role. Members are also protected by the disclosure whether they will be required to use unusual technology, profanity, or racial slurs, whether there will be content of a sexual or violent nature, and whether stunts will be required. And again, I'm totally on board with that. You know, I don't know if I would feel comfortable going into a job where they're like, okay, so it's going to be a bit of an edgy script. You know, you're going to be saying, you know, you're going to be dropping F-bombs a lot. You okay with that? Yeah, no, I'm fine with F-bombs. Also, we need you to basically be the most racist son of a bitch ever. But that's not, we're not telling you anything about that, though, until you get to set that day, right? Like, you don't even know about it until you get to set that day. I'd be like, oh, what do you need me to say? Oh, the N-word. Hard R. Ooh, how many times? 10. That's going to be, you know, I mean, I'm just saying, it's like for me personally, I don't like saying that word. So it's one of those things where it's like, I would probably do it if it's a job, but I want to know about it ahead of time. So I could get myself in the right frame of mind in order to say it. Because some people, like I said, I just don't like saying it like that. So for me, I'd have to get myself in the right mind space, and it might screw me up if I go into work and I don't know about it. So there's that. Finally, this new deal requires companies to continue working with the union on issues surrounding vocal stress during the term of the agreement. Again, something else that very much needs to be done. The SAG-AFTRA 11-month strike did impact the games industry. In one case, SAG-AFTRA voice actress Ashley Birch wasn't able to reprise her role in the Life is Strange prequel Before the Storm, though she did help out on the game in an advising role. Which I have a bit of issue with that. Like, if you're going to boycott the games industry because you want everything, you know, you want better protections for you as a voice actor, then you should probably not engage with them on anything, because that does come across as a bit of conflict of interest. It's like, yeah, I'm screwing you over, but I'll also help you out on the side there. No. I think there should be a clear, defined cut. That's the whole point of a strike. If a group of workers striking Albertsons, you know, ended up pulling the nighttime duty as a stock clerk when their job was a bagger and they were striking because they weren't paid enough, it would come across as a bit scummy and disingenuous, which, well, it's Ashley Birch, so I don't really think that's too far out of the question. And so, according to this article, they've reached out to SAG-AFTRA to clarify a few points. They've also asked if this is the first step for the union securing benefits and safeties on video game performers, and they'll update the story when they know more. But this is overall a good thing. In my opinion, this is overall a very good thing for the games industry. We want the performers who put out such amazing work, like the aforementioned Troy Baker and Nolan North, and even Ashley Birch. I will say she was great in Horizon Zero Dawn, and also in Life is Strange. She's a good voice actor. I don't like her personal politics, but I can appreciate the artist. You know, and so yes, you want them looked after, just like you want people like Tom Cruise protected when he does crazy ass stunts in his movies and gets injured. You know, you want people protected because that is how they continue making these projects. That is how they continue making sure everyone is safe on these projects, and we don't see a huge exodus and maybe a collapse of our favorite pastime. And so this ultimately will work out better for the voice actors, and it should have no impact on the consumer outside of continuously keeping up with well-produced content voiced by seasoned actors. Hey guys, that wraps up this video. If you'd like to leave a comment, please do so below. I love to read your guys' input. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It really does help me in the YouTube algorithm. If you want to support the channel, there's the Amazon affiliate store, there's PayPal, there's Patreon, there's Bitcoin. And if you're bored and you want something else to watch, check out 3 Buck Theater up here. My name is Matt Jarbo. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a wonderful day. Peace out.